Hello there. How are you? I hope you're having a good day. I certainly am. And I would like to talk about books, or let's just say reading in general. Um, this book attracted my attention when I went out looking for something that I want to read and I want to own and I want to have in my own possession somewhere in my home where I have my books collection that I could buy and keep to refer to from time to time, you know. When you reach my age, remembering things sometimes is not really ideal to think of what it is you want to remember. So today I picked this book which says bird watching. It's obviously teaching people how to watch birds. And I find it's very interesting whether you are a young child or older, however, at any age, as long as you can read. So some children, parents, they don't really have time to read to their children every night when they go to bed at a certain age, before a child starts to aid itself for reading. In other words, reading before bedtime. And I know that so well. I have children of my own. I didn't have time to read to them every night. So I taught them how to read. And if they have something that they don't understand, they could always ask me at first hand, because I'm their mother. So if they don't understand something, they could ask me for anything to learn about. And what I like about books is when you go to the bookshops, any bookshops that is, and you look around for what it is you want to read. For this book, it teaches you how to watch birds. And I'm sitting here, as you can see. It's a bit windy, you know, it's not raining. The weather has changed a little bit from early on, from, morning time, afternoon, midday, lunch hour time. It was a bit drizzly early on, and it was yesterday. I don't know whether it went on all night. I'm not recording all night. I am only recording the time when I record my speech for the weather. And this time I included this book, about this book. And it's very intriguing to understand that when I go to buy a book, I sometimes reach for a title, which is birds, and in here also it is birds watching. But the attention here is about this book is birds, therefore the writing is bigger than watching. So then it gives you a brief instruction of what is it about. And it here says, this excellent reference book guides the aspiring ornithologist through the most common birds in Europe, habitat by habitat, and family by family, detailed artworks and brief description of habitat, and calls help identify the birds. And along with distribution maps show when and where the birds are likely to be found. Bird watching is an exciting and well-written guide to the fascinating world of birds. There you go. That is a brief description of what is inside the book, what is entailed of what it is you want to read about. So it is very important to know what it is in brief that you're reading about. So therefore, you make your mind up before you buy a book that is the book you want to read, you want to know about. And with this book, underneath is a barcode. That barcode goes through the till, and then you pay the amount of money that is on the barcode. Sometimes in the shops, they ask you, do you want a receipt? And then for me, living in United Kingdom, receipt is important because you keep it for your budget. So now the end of the month, when you're working, whether part-time, full-time, whether you are a mother, a single mother, a person who does work, you are adults and you work, you earn your way of life, love, culture, industry, understanding, anything, it is work. For me, even when I'm asleep, I'm working. Because you dream. If you remember your dreams and you write about your dreams the next day, you obviously, your mind was at work. That's how I understand my life. I am only giving my opinion. Because I speak to myself sometimes, I thought, instead of wasting my words or talking to myself at nature, at anything, I talk to the walls, sheds, drips of water, But I decided to record, like movies, videos, obviously. And talking about that, to continue about it, is important to know why are you getting a receipt? You go to the other culture, other countries, they don't give you a receipt. There is no machine to tap in for the receipt. Yeah, for instance, if you go to market in United Kingdom, a market person, not all of them, they have a machine where you tag in your credit card on the machine, small machine, a little bit thicker than a mobile phone, and it gives you a receipt. But sometimes they ask you, do you want a receipt? I personally feel I shouldn't have a choice to be asked, do you want a receipt? Since we are a working culture, United Kingdom is a working culture. You work, you contribute, you pay taxes for, like, say, a dustbin, your GP, your lawyer. We pay taxes. So when you work, you have to work in United Kingdom for 2 years. And then, if you fall ill, or suddenly you become a single mom for family circumstances, your husband ran off with your next door neighbor, let's just say, and you end up struggling, bringing up. Even if it's just one kid, it's not easy to just leave your child at home and go to work to pay for whatever necessary for you and your child to keep on going. on in life. It is a struggle. And for me, I started working when I was at school. Back then, I was only 7 years old. One day I was going to school. One of my neighbors on the street where we used to live with my parents, my brothers and sisters, this neighbor came out to me, called out my name and said to me, "Would it be all right if you could bring me some shopping? Just one thing." I said, "I can't do it right now. I'm going to be late for school." And she said, "Not right now. When you come back, I'll give you some money and you bring me shopping. I'll tell you what it is you're going to get for me, and then I'll give you the money and you'll get shopping for me." And which I did. And I got paid for it, by the way. She gave me some money and told me, "Here, go and have something you like." Not much money, though, but it was worthwhile for me. I didn't know what work is. My father was working. He bring home to my mother all the necessary to bring us up. My mother didn't work. She was a midwife, so therefore it wasn't a permanent work like my father. He goes to work, full-time job. My mother was a midwife and educated. In those days, I do believe I have come across in the United Kingdom there are people who cannot read or write. But I'm lucky, my parents put me to school, and I used to walk myself from the age of 7 from school to home 4 times a day. Yes, I used to come home to have lunch and go back, and then in the evening, because I used to have 4 sessions a day, and I have to go to school in the morning, come back for breakfast, go back again, come back home, go back again, in the middle of the day I come back home for lunch, and then go back to school for the afternoon session. Not like what we have in England. Children go to school at 9 a.m. and they finish 3:30. Or if it's a nursery age child, they have half a day, either from 9 to 12 or from 12 to 3. You take your child and you bring it back. Where I come from, we don't have nurseries that time. Nowadays they do. So, there is a difference between country and country. In the United Kingdom, you get a receipt. And the first time I was asked, "Would you like a receipt?" I didn't know what to say. I just did this with my shoulders, pulled up my shoulders, and I looked at the person thinking, what is the right answer? Is it yes or no? I didn't know. I said, I don't know. If she wouldn't give me, or he wouldn't give me the receipt at the till, I would then have to write it down, how much I've spent, to add it up to my budget, to know that my budget meets up to the necessary things that I need in life. And I do have to say, I don't always get what I want from the budget I've got. I have to compromise things. So yes, to being a person or a child, being educated, it's a plus. It never is a minus. You have to be educated in this world we live in now, in modern ways of life. Yes, you have to be able to read, because I am now recording myself. You could record yourself on a mobile phone, on a tablet, on a computer, but you have to be educated to understand what is what. Yes, so you don't have to be a scientist, to know how to fly a rocket. It's only a mobile phone, but still though, there are complications sometimes when you mobile phone goes in a blink. It gives you instruction how to sort it out sometimes. You could do it yourself, which I find it very interesting. Yeah. So talking about books, I find it simple, beautiful, very understanding, and leads you to exactly how to watch birds and when and how. And I hope you would enjoy reading this book with me. And as far as it goes, I keep my books. And I also get books for my birthdays. Yes. My son brought me many books over the years, my first child, and I appreciate it. He's a bookworm like me. He likes to read. And as I said, children sometimes, their parents cannot have time or the will being to stretch a little few minutes to sit aside of the bed of the child and read little sentences to make a child understand. So what I did with my children, I read to my children, not on a regular basis, I have to admit. I couldn't do it. By the end of the day, I was naked, working, housework too, and it's not really easy. It's not easy at all. I brought my children on my own, and it's very, very hard, very difficult. So I taught my children to read by themselves. So my children from the age of 5, they could read and understand children books. And it is important if a child could read at the age of 5, because for me, I could read when I was at the age of 5. My own language, that is. And then a country where I came from, children don't go to school until they can read. That was then, from the family I grew up with, from what I understand. That way the children stays until the age of 7. So the child goes to school, the parents register the child to go to school and take the child to school the first opening day. And that's it. The child then walks from home to school, from school to home, every day. Yes. Until I became an adult, and then I started working. My father said to me, you want to go to university? Get a job, support yourself. To go to university, to pay for your books, for your clothes, for your fashion trend. I like fashion trend. I myself have a diploma in hairdressing. So, yes, it is important. Whether your parents are filthy rich or are just ordinary people who get along, struggling to meet expenses for a living day by day. It's not that easy. So there you go. You can watch birds from your own home. You don't have to go out anywhere far away, distance from where you live, even if you don't have to have a garden. I find it relaxing just to sit and watch the sky, for instance, when the clouds are moving. As an artist, I find it very important to look at things and understand why are they. And the simplest things in life, they are most important things to understand. Like, for instance, why the clouds are moving in one day, but not in the next day or another day after that. Like just today, with this today's weather. It's winter's weather. And as we all know, living in the United Kingdom, the seasons are now coming on time. For me, they are coming on time. Winter is winter. Spring is spring. Summer is summer. Autumn is autumn. And there are 4 seasons. And every season comes under 3 months. And if you add 3 months 4 times, it becomes 16. No, it becomes 12. There you go. I corrected myself. That is 4 if you add 4 to 4 times. 4, 8, 12, 16. But the season, they come under 3 months. For instance, winter, 3 months. Spring, 3 months, that's 6 months. Summer, 3 months, that's 9 months. Autumn, it's 3 months. That comes up to 12 months. So therefore, a calendar year is 12 months. And that's where the season come under 12 months. Every season has 3 months to run through, from one day to the next. So if the month is January month, we all know it has 31 days. So is December. February this year is 29 days, as I've find out from a calendar month. Well, Google calendar, obviously. But before mobile phones became, you can buy them at any place, became like part of life. Like what, buying a watch. You don't need a watch nowadays. You can have just a mobile phone. Just make sure it doesn't run out of batteries. That's the only thing. So I'm saying to those clever people who created the mobile phone, you know, maybe try to make a mobile phone charge itself from human body heat, because we don't feel cold, severely cold, because our body heat keeps us warm. And I am, for once, at the moment, my hands are feeling cold. I didn't bring my gloves out with me. I just thought, you know, I'd sit down here and enjoy the breeze. And it's wonderful. I really enjoy every day of my life. I admire the weather and the climate and the seasons. And I keep looking at to understand why each day leads to the next, and why was it in this early morning it was drizzling of rain, so the ground, the floor was wet, and the leaves and the trees dripping with rain water. And then in the afternoon, here we are. The wind picked up. It's windy now. And when it's windy, you feel colder than when it's not, in the winter, that is, at this time of year. So today is winter day. And also not just the weather, it's also the length of day. Like yesterday, the 1st of January, I recorded the weather. It was drizzling with rain, and at 4 p.m. it was started to get dark. Nowadays the day started to get longer, so we are coming out of winter, getting prepared for the spring, slowly. So every 3 months of the seasons, it leads you to the other 3 months of the next season. For instance, autumn, it was in November, all through to December. So December leads to January, January leads to February, and so on and so forth. And the same with the weather. in the winter, in January for instance, and December. December are the days, the shortest days they came under December. But now we're not in December. We are in January, so therefore the days are starting to get longer. Whereas the summer days are the longest of the all seasons. So there you go. I hope you had a good chat. I certainly enjoyed talking to you, and it's been pleasant having to read to you a few lines of this book. So yes, I do press on saying, I express myself saying, reading, education, reading, it's very important. Which reading comes under the education. You have to be educated to read. And first of all, if you are parents, it is very important for you to start your child off reading, writing simple words from A to Z. Like I taught my children to sing it, to sing the alphabet. So they remember it by singing. It becomes easier. It has a rhythm. When you voice making a sound, it makes a rhythm. With the rhythm, the words become exciting. Therefore, if you teach your child to learn the alphabet by heart, singing it to your child, your child will become interested. And you take it easy, smoothly, like I did today with you. I am doing here. I am showing you a book about birds watching. And I read about it, how and what it is inside it. That would make you feel interested. You want to read about the book. This particular book, for instance, you can find it in Google. You can search it, bird watching. You might not get just one. You might get others. But the title of any book is important, because if you don't know who's the author, you search by a name of a book, then you find a book and then you read about it at the back of the book. This is a hard cover, it's not a thin cover. With hard covers, it protects the inside of the book. At least, like if your book got wet, you get wet from outside before the water reaches inside. So it protects it. Hardcover protects the book. So, having said all of that, I wish you all a happy evening. And the street lights are on, and it's started to get darker outside. And I am gonna get going going out here and showing you the sky. There you are. All right, so till next day, have a good evening, and I'll catch up with you sometimes soon. It'll be a pleasure.